presents Legends of Horror at Casa Loma. Immerse yourself.
Casa Loma? I got lost there once for like 3 hours.
Thrills, chills, and surprises await as you wind your way through the gardens and darkest tunnels of the castle. It's the ultimate horror experience for the whole family. Legends of Horror at Casa Loma. Brought to you by Liberty Group. Tickets on sale this Friday at casaloma.ca.
So Liberty Group is a reference to Liberty Street East. I forget exactly what they own and what they are off the top of my head, but there's so when I grew up in Parkdale, the Liberty Street was just a bunch of old warehouses that were abandoned, the YTV studios, and the fucking, I'm using my hands to not the Rough Riders. What fucking team is it? The Argos. The fucking, I can't remember the fucking name of the. It's not Art Eagleton. There's a stadium down there. There was nothing down there. So anyway, when I was 3, supposedly I got lost at Casa Loma for 3 hours, and I don't actively remember that, and I haven't heard it. See what we got. They're not gonna tell us shit, but we got 5 minutes to the top of the hour.
Yo, you better strive for your round and fuck around and get that high smoke. Don't even shut up, T, cause of the lesson you didn't nigga let the stress in here. Hell no, I won't hold up, somebody should have told you. Fuck in the breeze, get rolled up. Straight up niggas off the pavement, break the flip, 16 shots, put in the chamber. So what's up, nigga? So what's up, nigga?
What's up, Reed, baby? Check this out, man. Come on, Reed, get you on that conversation, man. I don't hear yourself, baby. So, Reed, don't drop that conversation, fucking baby.
I'm straight up hustling, slinging a thing with me. From Nagasaki, see myself big, breathing with attention. I tried to get it way, I like living a perfect example of a typical what, nigga? Stereotype. I'm taking it down, I move around behind laying deep. As I'm a breeze, I'm raising, ain't no with me. Just enough to keep on, hit it from the sun. As a warning, you didn't fuck with the wrong one. But that was last year, now I'm coming in here. I sit up that shit out, y'all. Oh, and DLC. That's what I said. Yeah, believe that the real goes.
Check those. Canada, Ontario, Toronto politics, you'll figure it out.
So what's up, nigga?
Check this out, baby. Reed, kick it conversation in the 9-3. Yes, 1983, nigga. Hey, man. Hey, get your weapon and keep stepping.
Now I'm a motherfucking business, and that's the reason I'll be kicking verses. And candy swallowers, I got more followers than churches. I'm back in the cat because it beats like that. And if you drunk from, believe me, nigga, you gon' need the cat. Kids get kidnapped, cut up with axes. And if you focus up, still I'm on tax. What am I thinking? When I'm a throw by my own kind, step up in his mind, you expecting me to check mine. Well, he's a hoe, and he know what making pennies. Back in the day, it's big as fiddles making rentals. I'm making top dogs, deep, cool, YBI. You selling keys, man, please, that ain't how I survive. This is the flash of the motherfucking Titans. If you ever try to stop the gator, represent that ass right. Put you on a pedestal and sing your ass a ghetto song. Got a phone to sing along and sing my mellow wrong. So what's up, nigga? So what's up, nigga?
Check this out, baby. Hey, I'm back again. Hey, what a motherfucking G. Hey, I'm back again, man. You know what I'm saying? And please just keep that conversation with your ass, man. And for those of you who don't like it, man, you can keep these motherfucking rules, baby. Cause I don't know. Like my niggas be talking about, you know what I'm saying? 9-3. 1 G.
If you're wondering, the ISP, not my ISP, but the incumbent, Bell Canada, appears to be just turning my internet off, but leaving the broadband connected so it won't switch to a new switch and try to connect again.
I'm on the front lines of these perilous times, confusion bonds of minds of world leaders. We need a sign, a ray of hope through this dark cloud of injustice. Motherfuck this city, you know that the woman is lusted. Jewel encrusted green beans, apocalypse. Can't you see the blitz on the radar? Missile hits in the more strategists became the catalyst, angry capitalists. This dark market's path.
Go over to refugee policy. We know that some of the things happening at a national level are big with respect to what the federals did and what it meant to the city. I agree housing is big, but that's double-edged sword because one of the things that they have talked about is faster and quicker approvals to build more housing, and that does not bode well for a local politician trying to steer very.
How come First Nations are not allowed to build on First Nations land even when they have the money without your permission? Why won't you give the permission?
first issue, of
confused.
course,
Why do
is
we need
always
your
taxation
permission?
in your pocketbook.
And
What does all this
why
mean
won't
to
you grant
me,
it?
and what does it mean to my kids over the generations as we pay all these
I'm gonna
bills
build
for all of these properties?
narrow gauge railroads
Guys, great work.
and
I really
concrete
appreciate your
block
being here this
housing.
afternoon, Stephen Holiday, the
You're gonna
Deputy
like what
Mayor,
I'm gonna put
Council
together.
Ward 2, Sam Goldstein, criminal defense lawyer. We'll do it again real soon. We're done for the day.
So the railroads that I want to put together, the narrow gauge is used for both mines and forestry and stuff. And because it's narrower, it's lighter, less resources put together, smaller space. The square cube law applies to some of that shit. Because there's an economy of scale. We're building a 4'8", a full gauge, standard gauge railroad might not make sense to do. They make passenger cars and everything for these locomotives, everything standardized for these fucking narrow gauge railroads. In Europe, in Russia, Ukraine, Romania, all these different places, they have railroads, like they call them children's railroads, because they're entirely run by kids, except there's adults there, so I guess it depends on how pervasive and persistent the government is. But there's adults in all the important roles. But there's what you would call a child operating the locomotive, the signal people with flags, dispatch, all that shit. Yes, so it's manageable by kids. Now this tells me kids could run a full size. I got the 2 rail lines here, and then there's one more that's going to be 2 more that they're lifting up in the air, and they're building 3 towers here and 1 there. They just built 2 here and 1 here. I'm not even joking. All this right outside my house. They're just building. Busy world of Richard Scary. I got to get a camera I can carry around.
How will visitors to Ontario be screened? We'll be checking to see if businesses are really adhering to all of these new guidelines. John O'Shea went in search of answers.
Over the next 7 weeks, rules designed to control the spread of COVID-19 are about to change again with the Ontario government's vaccination passport rollout.
The more rules that come into play, the more changes that become outdated, become complex.
In less than 3 weeks, you'll have to show proof of vaccination and government identification to enter a restaurant and many other public places.
It'd be a good thing given the public health situation. It doesn't help the industry all that.
So again, think black-owned businesses are the ones that have the walk-up window already. They already have the window. They never used it before, right? Like for the longest time, they don't use it. All of a sudden, they got that window open, the door. You walk up, there's a door, and there's a sign, walk-up window. Oh, yeah, okay. It makes sense, right? Now you're no longer entering, are you? I know, it's just like serving crack to the trap. I know, this is the whole fucking point. You're not listening.
Different.
I just negated the whole paperwork, everything. Just do it through the fucking door, through the window.
Expectation to monitor vaccine passports in public settings will become a challenge.
But don't expect municipal or provincial police to be taking in the role. And that's good, says this professor.
Because one thing we didn't want to happen was for these certificates to become a kind of, COVID carding. So you'd have the police able to stop people and ask for their COVID certificates.
No, carding does not mean stopping somebody to check their card. We don't call it that. We call it getting C-picked. You started calling it carding. No, carding is when they write down your data on a little white card so they can maintain an illegal database. They're not allowed to do that. Okay, and it contains race and medical information and all sorts of things that don't pertain to police investigations. And if you're wondering, they have used these cards to convict people of crimes. People said they didn't know each other or whatever. Oh, well, we stopped you and we stopped you all together, so therefore you know each other. No. You know how many times I've been stopped and then some random crackhead is also stopped and then they tell us we know each other? I don't fucking know what you're talking about. Well, why were you standing here talking to him? I was walking this way and you had to yell at me 3 times to stop. So please, don't tell me I was standing here doing anything else. It's a joke. It's a joke. Even the legal professors that are helping us, these advocates who are advocates, are still playing into this game. Okay, it goes all the way back to like 1997 when the Toronto police, and we're using the term male yellow, I guess those are terms, male yellow to describe a suspect who was allegedly a male Asian, an Asian male. At some point after that, CPIC, Canadian Police Information Center, revoked the TPS's rights. Okay, sorry. They can't write any new data to the database, but they can still read it. So they started writing it down on these little white cards, like I got from the back of the rolling paper packages. They just stack those up. Okay, well, I kind of thought of this because of what the police do. A little bit. Sort of influenced me. It's an illegal database that contains racial information but it contains incorrect racial information. Go back on my CPIC computer. What does it say? It says very anti-police for some reason. Right. That makes a lot of sense. He keeps yelling at people that he's military police, but he's anti-police. Get the fuck out of here. And the I'm anti-fascist. Oh, you're Antifa. No. And until recently, I didn't know what the fuck that was. And what's the other one say? Ethnicity. Capital E, ethnicity. All capital letters, white. That's what it says. WHITE on my thing. When did you ever see a document or hear verbally that I was white? No, I'm the white guy with a bunch of niggers, so I'm the crackhead. That's what it says on there. He'll go into heroin withdrawal if he doesn't smoke, if he does smoke weed, or he does. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but they read that out in like court or the hospital or some shit. I don't remember which document has it, but I swear to God it's on my documentation. He'll go into heroin withdrawal from smoking marijuana. I'm not so sure about that, but that would seem to be a disability that I should get a medical card for, huh? Don't you think? Did I have anything else to say about the racist cops? I do, but let's